When I began, most of my experiences were in the studio, learning, and very swiftly I was on stage within a matter of months. So I had to bring this unknowledgeable event onto the stage. And I can remember very clearly being in the wings, which is a safe place, and knowing that at a certain point, a matter of a few feet, and I would be in this very foreign territory with an audience out there. And moving from this space to that place was a big event. And the ruse I came across was, instead of this being empty, instead of this being a nothingness, it had to become a substance. And if it was a substance, it was a partner I could work with. So I could move into this by pushing it. I could push it, which gave me something to do, which was not the movement. And by pushing it, and then pushing it with my arm, luckily if I had an arm movement, and by ducking under it and pressing the air up with my back, and releasing air from underneath my heel as I would move forward. Instead of my body being the positive and the empty space being the negative, the space became the positive, and I had a relationship with it. In most theatres, there's the proscenium arch. It's a frame, so it's a box. So that gives you a sort of constant, which you could say gives you a lot to play with, but at a certain point for me, it became too enclosed, and the audience was outside that enclosure. So I wanted to test myself and test us as performers in what other kinds of spaces we could be animate and clear in. I went to the Arctic in 2006 as part of an expedition for artists to actually be in a part of the environment which is under danger, and whether or not we could make artwork in response to that. Talk about space. This was huge. So already I had a sort of revelation in terms of space as something completely different. I think I had fear in the Arctic, and through that sense of fear and hugeness, I was understanding the claustrophobic circumstances that we have given ourselves in very heavily populated urban situations. So by giving Sarah, the artist, difficulty, claustrophobia, additionality that was overwhelming to her, I felt that was a response to the massiveness of being in the Arctic. Putting the work in the Natural History Museum and placing Sarah to scale inside a vitrine that would normally be used for an endangered or extinct species. The creatures in the Arctic are under threat. So I wanted to bring that threat to us, because in fact we are also possibly endangered. We made this work in 2002. It was a solo plucked out from a work that we made in 1998. Jill Clark was performing it on the Millennium Bridge, which was newly opened. She repeated this solo many times from dawn to dusk. It was an experiment. We were trying to put a very animated solo with a lot of concentration going into it from Jill, amongst commuters who also had a sort of commitment to what they were doing, which was to cross the bridge either to or from work. And there's a different kind of relationship, really for the first time in my work, between somebody being at work and the audience, the passers-by, either deciding not to take any notice at all or choosing to stay. the public were unaware of what was going on. And although Jill knew that she was going to do this work with great clarity, she had no idea of how she was going to be framed by this. And in fact, she wasn't framed because the crowd quite often would, force her to be lost from vision. I like to explore the 360 degrees of opportunities that I might get, or that dance or choreography might get. So this work is just one of the degrees around a circle in which we can experience dance.